Gong hei fat choi and happy Chinese or Lunar New Year. We're back again for another year of drawing my D&D characters enjoying the Lunar New Year festivities while talking a little bit about culture, heritage, my personal experiences, memories, anticipations for the New Year's, things like that, and just sharing in this together experience so that we can all celebrate. If you notice I sound a little weird, yes, I'm once again sick. What a very predictable sequence of events, but at any rate, I do apologize for the weird voice and I appreciate you bearing with me. But without further ado, let's jump right into this drawing. The Lunar New Year fell on the 29th of January this year, which feels pretty early. I know it's not really, but usually I feel like the Lunar New Year falls somewhere in February, so it really did sneak up on me. Luckily, I already had an idea in mind because 2025 is the year of the snake. So I thought it only fitting to draw my Yuan Ti character Merilith celebrating the Lunar New Year with her family. If you were born in the year 1941, 1953, 1965, 1977, 1989, 2001, 2013, or obviously 2025, you were born in the year of the snake. Some famous folks who were born in the year of the snake include Audrey Hepburn, Robert Downey Jr., Taylor Swift, Pablo Picasso, Billie Eilish, Buzz Aldrin, Ella Fitzgerald, and my dad. According to the Chinese zodiac, people born in the year of the snake are considered to be charming, strategic, and intelligent. And specifically, this year is the year of the wood snake. So people born in 1965 or 2025 are wood snakes and are considered to be especially refined in taste and very orderly. Snakes are generally considered to be excellent and creative problem solvers. However, this can create an issue where they can become bored very easily if a job is not stimulating enough. So it is recommended that snakes pick a job that involves complex problems and tight deadlines. This includes jobs such as a scientist, analyst, investigator, painter, jeweler, or sociologist. I'm not really a person who looks to horoscopes for guidance, but I do get a little chuckle to see what sort of broad, general, vague, widely applicable stance the stars have on my life at the moment. For the snakes this year, even though it is the year of the snake, it seems there are some challenges predicted in the future, but optimism and adaptability will help you overcome these difficulties. Also, there's a note to avoid negativity and also to prioritize your health, which is just all around good advice for everyone. I was born in the year of the rabbit and not the snake, but it does also seem like I need to prioritize my health this year too. If you are a snake and you are looking to increase your luck this year, the Chinese zodiac recommends the lucky numbers 2, 8, and 9, as well as the lucky colors black, red, and yellow, and the lucky plants orchid and cacti. If you ever need an excuse to buy another plant for your home, that is a pretty fun one to lean on because the stars. But that's enough about the whims of the stars and whatever other celestial bodies. Let's talk a little bit about the drawing. It's not really one of my usual drawings. It's sort of a composition piece of the 4 members of Merilith's family. From left to right is the mother Zephyra, the father Amuthrat, the eldest daughter Prashissa, and the youngest daughter Merilith. Also in the background I've snuck in a little Isegwin, Ezra, and the grandmother Mitsheta, as well as a little memorial altar to Naira. I don't usually do composition pieces. I am not a backgrounds girly, but I wanted to draw a more casual family setting with mismatched dishes and a potluck style meal because it's very representative of what my own Chinese New Year experiences have been like growing up. I do sometimes feel a little disconnected when I watch other Asian or half Asian content creators getting to wear the traditional clothing and going to large festivals and celebrations when my personal experiences have been a lot more low-key and way more casual. Obviously, we always wear something red or with red on it. There's still mandarin oranges and Ong Pao red envelopes, plenty of food, but I often feel, I don't know if it's fear of missing out or just maybe envy for people who get to experience a quote-unquote authentic Lunar New Year, but in a sort of humbling series of events. I was doing my research for the year of the snake and what predictions they had, and one of the websites had a really big breakdown of the Lunar New Year festival and what celebrations take place on each of the different days, and it reminded me that at the heart of it, what the Lunar New Year is really about is that it's a celebration of connections and family reunions and starting the new year together with people you love. And just because I don't wear any traditional clothes clothing, just because the food served is a mix of various cultures and weird ingredients, just because my Lunar New Year experiences are not the fancy things that I get to see on the internet. It doesn't make my experience any less authentic or any less significant. And I know I say something like that every single year, but it is a constant battle to remind myself that there is nothing that I need to do to earn my ethnicity. But on that note that very much peers straight into my soul, I'm doing line art, which alongside doing scene/setting drawings is not something I do very often. I used to do a lot of line art, and honestly it's a very relaxing art style in my opinion, but there are so many problems that come with having multiple layers, namely drawing on the wrong layer. But guess what? Can't draw on the wrong layer if you only ever work on one layer. But also on the other hand, when you aren't working in a super painty style like I usually do, having multiple layers is kind of nice for doing area selections and having really sharp lines. Something I kind of regret about the picture is not taking more time to draw the food, or at least not thinking of the food ahead of time, because I actually really enjoy drawing food from reference, and I used to do that quite a bit, but I had a hard time thinking of the names of the food in order to look up a reference image, because at the end of the day, almost everything is either a stir fry or a curry of some sort, but it's a question of, is it a fish or chicken curry? Is it a veggie or noodle stir fry? And in my head, it's just the food I grew up eating, and I know what I like and what I don't like, and I bet if I asked my grandma what the food was called, she would just say stir fry. But I put in a couple of my favorites. There are some spring rolls, curry puffs, stir-fried noodles, bok choy, egg curry, chicken satay, and of course, rice. It's not what we always eat around the Lunar New Year. Usually there is a fish dish or stir-fry bitter gourd or some other veggies and stuffed tofu, but it's my imaginary yuan tea family dinner, so of course it's gonna be all of my favorite foods. I think to have really made this feel authentic, I should have drawn the rice sitting in a rice cooker, but believe it or not, I don't spend a lot of my time practicing how to draw small kitchen appliances, so it wasn't really the first thing that popped into my head when I was filling out the table. Since my very first video of the year was not about goals and ideas for the upcoming year, and since this is also technically a New Year's video, I figured I'd spend a little time talking about what I want to do this year. Continuing with the trend of last year, I really want to get better at committing to and finishing projects. Honestly, right now, I have various bits and pieces of about 4 different cosplays that I've either given up on because the subject matter became irrelevant for content, or felt insecure about wearing in the cosplay, or I just haven't finished because I keep doing new things, and it's a tragedy, and I would really like to make an effort this year to stop doing that. Also, on the subject of finishing things, or at least not letting things pile up, I have a massive fabric scrap and old clothes stash. Either it's thrifted stuff that people have given to me because they're like, you sew things, here, have this, or fabric scraps that are too small for my regular projects, or clothes that just don't fit me anymore, and in sort of a 3-part combination of various goals. First of all, I want to own clothes that I really like, instead of just trending or normal clothes, or clothes that I found that were a good price. Second, I want to start making more clothes for day-to-day wear instead of just making cosplay clothing. And third, I want to get rid of those massive boxes of fabric scraps and old clothes by either repurposing or recycling them. So I was thinking of getting into clothing upcycling again by making new clothes out of old clothes, which I'm super excited about. I have a ton of ideas for, and if my Pinterest boards are any indication, I am well on my way to dressing more and more like a patchwork bug witch with every passing day. As for goals with this channel and my art, I have a lot of plans. I would like to make more art that isn't just character design, maybe some landscapes, maybe some scenes. I'd also like to make art that isn't just for videos, stuff that I can post on my socials in the middle of the week. Maybe I'll start doing food drawings again. I also really want to open up an official commission workflow, I guess. I have something in my link tree that I'm testing the boundaries of just to see if there's an interest, but I've never actually officially opened up commissions before, and all of the commissions I've ever taken have been people very kindly reaching out to me on the off chance that I might be available to do a commission. But I am super nervous about overloading myself, and I know there's no way I would be able to do commissions during the month of Art Fight. It's just something I'm deeply afraid of over committing to, but it is something that I would love to set aside more time for and be more intentional about making an effort to make it happen. And speaking of being afraid, I've also put on my New Year's bingo card. Yes, I made a bingo card for myself. I'm not immune to trending behavior, and also the tactile slash checklist aspect of it is very appealing in a way that vision boards have never been for me. But I've also put on my bingo card to try 5 new things that I am afraid of or things that I think I might be bad at. And this isn't like trying a new food or going skydiving. I just have a really bad habit of deciding that I'm going to be bad at something before I ever try it, and that informs my behavior. Like, I'm not saying I'm going to become really good at playing League, but I have enough people in my life who do play League that I could play without experiencing the worst parts of League, most of the worst parts of League. But I still refuse to play because I'm afraid that I won't be good enough to contribute to the game in any significant way. But it's literally just a game, and nobody has the expectation of me that I should instantly be good at it, except for me. And that goes for a ton of other experiences, like making more complicated costume pieces, or trying my hand at something like upholstery sewing, or even just a marginally intimidating home repair project. I just would like to stop deciding that I'm bad at something before I even test it out. All those very serious goals aside, I do have a couple of very silly bingo items. One of them is very close to being checked off. It's that I want to learn to make croissants so well that I don't ever want to buy them from a store again. Very specific. I had a very kind friend give me some of her sourdough, and I've never been or wanted to be a sourdough girly, but you know, here I am. For some reason, I am intimidated by the idea of making a standard loaf of like the round sourdough bread, and instead I opted for the notoriously very easy and uncomplicated to make croissant, because croissants are delicious and I could eat them forever. But I've made croissants about 3 times now, and this most recent trial has been very, very, very close to being the ideal croissant. I did burn them a little bit because my kitchen temperature and oven temperature are whack, but they are the closest to having the layers and rise that I have been missing from my last 2 croissant attempts. So I am so close to checking that bingo off, and it's only January so far, almost February. That brings us to the end of this year's Lunar New Year celebration artwork. Different from my last 2 years, but still a super fun addition. I like the composition a lot. I think it's very cozy and nostalgic for me, and I hope you all have a happy Lunar New Year, that you get a chance to spend some time in reunion or togetherness. If not with family, then with friends. If not with friends, then I hope you consider this video and this channel a little family reunion. We have such a lovely and ever-growing community here, and I hope that everyone feels welcome. But with that, I wish you a very prosperous 2025. Gonghae Choi. Nothing too eventful in your future, and enough energy to overcome the challenges that may come your way, and many, many delicious croissants. Or not, if you don't like croissants, but who knows? Not me.